Welcome back to Top Dog Tips. Thanks for joining us for this video answering the question, can dogs get sick from humans? Check out our extensive article on the subject on our website at topdogtips.com. And of course, if you like this video, if you learned something from it, click the like or bell button underneath the video. And also be sure to subscribe to our channel to learn all about humans and dogs, their interactions, and how we can take better care of our pets. Let's get into it. If you've been caring for dogs for a while now, you must know that we can get sick from them. Rabies, giardia, you name it, there's a laundry list of diseases that we can catch from our dogs. After all, it's not uncommon for an animal-borne disease to be transferred to people, which is also known as zoonosis. But on the flip side, can dogs get sick from us? In this video, I'll cover the process of zoonosis and reverse zoonosis, human illnesses that dogs can contract, illnesses we can get from our dogs, and how we can prevent this animal to human and human to animal transmission. So let's get to it. Can dogs get sick from humans? As I've mentioned, to answer this question simply, yes, our dogs can get sick from us. First, we need to familiarize ourselves with a process called zoonosis, where a certain disease can be transmitted from animals to humans through pathogens like viruses, bacteria, fungi, or parasites. The World Health Organization defines zoonosis as any disease or infection naturally transmissible from vertebrate animals to humans. There are 200 types of zoonoses in existence today, which means there are 200 types of known human diseases of animal origin. In fact, the coronavirus is zoonotic. It's believed to have originated from bats, then to pangolins as intermediary species, and then to humans. The animal-to-human transmission has been well described thanks to numerous studies and research. However, transmission from the opposite direction is still much less understood. So we know a lot about animal-to-human transmission, but what about human-to-animal transmission? This is called reverse zoonosis, where human diseases are transferred to animals. Some examples are cats catching the H1N1 flu and chimpanzees contracting the human metapneumovirus, which caused them to get upper respiratory infections. But perhaps the most animal interaction we get these days is with dogs. After all, more than 65 million US households own a canine companion. Now that we know that we can give our illnesses to dogs, what are some of the illnesses that can transfer between us and our pets? First of all, dermatophytosis, also known as ringworms. The most common fungal infection that dogs can get from humans is dermatophytes. It's usually found as a superficial nail, skin, and hair infection because it requires keratin to grow. Fungal pathogens like dermatophytes were among the earliest pathogens to be studied to demonstrate reverse zoonosis in 1988. Actually, dermatophytosis can be easily transmitted through direct contact from infected human to human, human to animal, or animal to human, and animal to animal. Dogs and humans can also get it from contact with contaminated objects or surfaces. Because this fungus is resistant, its spores can be dormant for up to 18 months. Dermatophytes is the general term for fungi that grow on keratin. Some common species of dermatophytes that also infect animals and humans are Microsporum and trichophyte. If you see an itchy ring-like red mark on your skin, you better not cuddle with your dog until after you get that treated. Another disease that can be transmitted from us to our pets is the flu. If you have the common flu, you shouldn't worry about your dog getting it. There's still an ongoing debate about whether we can transmit our flu virus to dogs, and there's not much scientific evidence that supports either, but that's only for the common flu. A 2015 research study concluded that the influenza viruses H1N1, also known as the swine flu, and H3N2 can be transmitted to dogs without them experiencing any symptoms. And also, remember the news about dogs contracting COVID-19 from their owners? Yes, it's also possible for our furry pals to get the virus. However, it is rare. But the good news is that they don't transmit it as well as humans, which means they're unlikely to pass the virus to another person. As for the symptoms, most dogs that tested for the COVID-19 virus only got mild symptoms. Symptomatic dogs mostly had a loss of appetite and appeared to be sluggish. Cats, on the other hand, got it a lot harder. Those who tested positive experienced difficulty breathing and runny noses. In fact, felines are more susceptible to catching the flu from humans, yes, even just the seasonal one. They can also easily get the flu from other animals. Cats are especially susceptible to the avian flu the H1N1 virus, also known as the swine flu, and their own strain, the cat flu. Needless to say, it's better to maintain distance from your dogs, cats, or other animals living nearby if you have any flu, just to be sure. Giardiasis is another disease that our pets can contract from us. This is a diarrheal disease caused by the parasite Giardia duodenalis that lives in the intestinal tract of its host and passes on as greasy stool. The thing about Giardia is it can survive for a long time, even after it's expelled from the host's body. We're talking about weeks or several months here, not just a couple of days. Giardia spreads very easily. If you come in contact with a contaminated surface, even just the tiniest amount of it, you're most likely to get it too. This means that if you have it and you have a dog who I'm sure follows you around everywhere you go, your dog is also likely to contract Giardia from you. The good thing though is Giardia in dogs is curable with the proper guidance from a veterinarian. It's also very preventable. Just make sure to keep all surfaces clean in your house. Don't let your dog drink from suspicious water sources like a puddle, and always wash your hands. Salmonellosis is another disease that dogs can get from us. It spreads like Giardia in that you can get it from any contaminated surface, but mostly from improperly handled food. The bacteria Salmonella can easily be transferred from humans to animals or animals to humans. It can lead your dog to dehydration, sepsis, and in some cases, even death. So to prevent this, make sure to cook food properly, prepare your meals in a sanitized area, and store leftovers properly. You can also read the CDC's prevention tips that are linked in our written guide on our website at topdogtips.com. Campylobacteriosis is another common disease that's transferred from humans to dogs. It's caused by the bacteria Campylobacter, is one of the most common culprits of diarrhea among humans. A 2004 study found the occurrence of this bacteria in dogs and cats living with infected humans. Interestingly, the study also found that bacterial transmission from human to animal occurs more frequently between younger patients and their pets, specifically patients that were 17 years old or younger. The Campylobacter bacteria also spreads through contaminated food and stool. It can cause your dog to have watery poop, abdominal pain, lethargy, and fever. If you have diarrhea, it's better to isolate yourself to keep your pet and other family members from getting the disease. Another bacteria infection that our dogs can get from us is called methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, also known as MRSA. MRSA is commonly found in human skin and nasal passages of humans and can be transferred to animals by direct skin-to-skin contact or through contaminated objects and surfaces. People with a weak immune system are the most susceptible to MRSA, and they can experience skin infections with wounds and pus that don't heal, among other things. In animals, MRSA can appear as an inflamed, infected skin with hair loss, redness, and rashes. Tuberculosis can also be transferred to our pets. Pet owners who tested positive for the Mycobacterium tuberculosis bacteria can infect their dogs with tuberculosis. This was the case of a Yorkshire Terrier who experienced coughing, weight loss, and vomiting 6 months after his owner was diagnosed with TB. Unfortunately, he was later euthanized because of a urethral obstruction. You can see that story and more by clicking the link below or by checking out the written guide on our website, topdogtips.com. Mumps is a viral infection that can be passed from humans to dogs. It can cause inflammation in the salivary glands, and yes, your dog can get it from you if you have it. The transmission usually happens through saliva, coughing, sneezing, and sometimes even touching objects or surfaces that an infected person has already touched. While it's rare, dogs can still get mumps. It can manifest through neck, jaw, or eye swelling. They'll also have loss of appetite, lethargy, and listlessness. Fortunately, this is preventable in humans thanks to the MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, but dogs have no way of preventing this except for their pet owners taking precautionary measures. Now that we know what illnesses we can give to our dogs, what illnesses can we get from our dogs? Some of the diseases that I've already talked about can also originate from dogs and pass on to humans. But of course, there are others that can be passed from them to us. The first and probably most common is rabies. We already know how infected dogs can transfer rabies to humans through biting or scratching. Transmission can also happen if the saliva comes into contact with any open wound or mucosa, like your eyes or mouth. Leptospirosis is another fairly common disease that can be spread from dogs to humans. While this one is more common in rodents, your dog can still get leptospirosis, and when they do, they can pass the bacteria to you via their contaminated urine. Tick-borne diseases, very common where I live here in Maine. Although humans can't get tick-borne diseases directly from dogs, they can still be carriers of the parasite that can give us these fatal diseases. So I know from experience that, your pets can bring ticks into your home. The ticks don't attach to your dog, but they end up on your bedding, on your carpeting, on your furniture, and then they can get onto you. So your dog can just be a carrier of that parasite, and then the ticks get into your home and can attach to you. Rocky Mountain spotted fever, ehrlichiosis, and anaplasmosis are only some of the tick-borne diseases. Lyme is another very common one. Toxocariasis can also be spread from dogs to humans. This is caused by the parasitic roundworms found in dogs' intestines. The shed eggs through their feces can contaminate the soil. Any kid who likes playing with dirt can come into contact with the contaminated soil and get this disease. Similarly, if you have a dog who goes to the bathroom near a spot where you're digging in the yard to plant flowers or doing some landscaping, this can be passed that way. So it is something that definitely happens more often than you might think. Dog flu is another disease that might be passed from your pet onto you. Recent studies show that the H3N2 virus that dogs contract slowly evolves into a canine-specific mutated virus and is now better at recognizing human cell receptors. Basically, what this means is there's a looming possibility of this dog flu infecting humans. Some people, of course, are more susceptible to getting diseases from dogs. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, those who are at high risk are kids younger than 5 years old, pregnant women, adults that are 65 or older, and people with weakened immune systems. So if you live with people who fall into one of those categories, or you yourself are one, then all the more safety precautions are necessary, which I'll discuss now. We've talked about the diseases that can pass from humans to dogs and dogs to humans, but how do we prevent catching diseases from our dog and vice versa? You can prevent catching each other's diseases by practicing good hygiene and being vigilant to prevent pathogens from entering your homes and affecting you and your pets. Always wash your hands before handling food, after cleaning up your pet's poop, after petting other animals, etc. Clean and sanitize your house and your surrounding environment. Pet bowls and pet bedding should also always be washed and sanitized. Vaccinate your pets on time and make sure they're always protected from parasites. If you feel like something's off with your pet, like he's not behaving normally, he seems to be in pain, or he's showing any symptoms that he doesn't typically show, don't hesitate to go to the vet immediately. You also need to be sure to take your dog in for his regular wellness checkups as well, even if he doesn't seem to be sick. Dogs can get sick from humans, but before you go, you should know that it's not impossible to prevent any diseases from transferring between you and your dog as long as you take precautionary measures, like practicing proper hygiene and maintaining cleanliness in your environment. While dogs can get sick from humans and humans can get sick from dogs, this is more uncommon than living a fun, peaceful, and most importantly, healthy life with your furry pal. Have you experienced anything similar? Please share it with us in the comments section. If you learned something from this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, family, and fellow pet owners. If you liked this video, you can also subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with all of the tips and tricks that we share for pet parents and pet lovers. You can also subscribe to our email newsletter for daily tips and tricks in raising healthy, happy dogs. Thanks for watching.